Hey everyone, and welcome back to StarMade, the survival series that we have been starting here lately. We will be, hopefully, expanding the base today. We built this turret last episode, and it's been doing its job slowly. It's immune because this is our home planet, and it drains kind of a decent amount of power right now from our current setup. And what I want to do is work on expanding our overall capacity for supporting, factories, refineries, and defenses so that our planet here becomes more and more secure, and that allows me to kind of move around on the planet's surface a lot easier. You'll notice that there's some wrecked ships around. These pirates actually showed up, and for a few hours, I was just letting the game run and refining some things. These things were just constantly harassing. Now, with one turret, this took forever for them to actually be destroyed. So, obviously, what we want to do is salvage these. Now, once they're destroyed, you can either do it two ways. One, you can take a salvaging ship and salvage them the proper way, or two, hop inside and just delete it. Now, obviously, this kind of threw its center of gravity a little off there, so excuse me while that tumbles through the air. And that looks good, so we'll just start deleting all this good stuff. Trying to get as much material off as quickly as possible. And I believe, what else do we have here? We have... Is it stuck on the ground? Nope. Looks like we have just a few little triangle pieces here. And then we can take the ship core. Now, you had to reboot the system to actually do what I just did, which takes some time. And if they're in space and you might be in hostile territory, and if you have a salvaging ship, it might be quicker to do that and get out of dodge, essentially, if you have a large multi-role ship. But, if you have the time and if they just so happen to crash land in your territory, I suggest rebooting their systems and going from there. Now, the way to tell if they need reboot is your structure HP. If it's below 100%, doing anything with the ship editor actually hurts your material retrieval here. So make sure you are doing this the right way, as I completely caused the ship to break again. Oh god. Oh god, no. Nope. 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 Get out of the ground. Get out of the ground. Okay, calm it down now. The gravity is definitely making this an interesting procedure, as this isn't usually how it goes, but interesting can be nice as well in its own little way. There we go. As, the ship is affected by gravity. Larger ships obviously get pulled down at a different rate than others. Now, if you spin this around, you can generally tell if you have something extra on the ship here. Where's our ship? There it is. And do we have... Nope. Looks like we're good. Alright, so 3 ships crash landed on the planet, and we're salvaging them now to get materials, kind of the base leftover bits. Usually these are just hull pieces that are left. Some light module pieces, like maybe some remaining thrusters, some remaining power modules, some remaining maybe weapon systems. But the main advantage is you can kind of make a lot of gold by doing that. We gotten some red lights out of this, some decorative servers. We've gotten, I don't know if much else in here. Some free ship cores, which is always nice. Some white lighting, which is good. Some gray standard hull, some black standard hull. Anything that the ship is actually made out of. Now, if you guys actually seen my earlier shipbuilding series in StarMade, you'll remember our little light fighter that we made. And the pirates use your own ships. Sadly, it despawned because I was kind of cowering for my life. But a light fighter that I built before, which, I mean, it's the smallest ship in the world. It's smaller than the turret. Came in for like a close swoop, and the turret locked onto it, and it instantly blew off its wings as it spiraled down kind of into the valley, which looked pretty awesome. I wish I was recording then, but I was kind of multitasking, letting the game run while also building in other games. Let's hop into this one. There we go. This one has actually a decent amount of it left. You know, plenty of these power module, thruster modules, and looks like some cannon modules left. Oh, we're going to reboot this one by pressing Y, and that's going to take some time. It's going to take about 30 seconds or so before we can actually start salvaging it. But you can see you can get some hazard armor from it. You can get some grates, all these different colors, some free lights, which is, you know, really nice to have. Glass blocks, if the cockpit was actually still intact, and any other modules? We got thrusters and power. Doesn't look like any of the weapon systems are left on this one. This one got chewed up pretty heavily on the wings, but the core is relatively intact. Okay, so let's take it off remove mode and see if this behaves just a little bit better. Okay, and it's freaking out. It's freaking out. Quickly get as much of it as possible. Come on. Get out of there. Get out of the ground. Stop glitching. Oh, we're going into space. We have no thrusters to stop our ascent. But if I'm able to get everything... Come on, stop. Stop. Okay, we're just gonna have to spam right click because holding control to activate the advanced build mode here is going to create some problems. If I can just get the ship core, we can use that to just kind of float down back to our planet here. There we go. So now we have a little bit of our speed and control back. That little shuttle that we're using to get around is just a simple ship core plus a power module plus a thruster. By the way, it's definitely a very zippy kind of setup to travel to like the nearby shops very quickly and to get around. All right, and pop. There we go. We got this now, and we'll just pop back into our valley. So we successfully harvested our 3 blown up ships from our defensive turret. We need to have more of these. We need to have different types of missile ones, and maybe some anti-missile turrets. Just more of everything pretty much. And this whole setup is just not enough to support that kind of thing. So today what we're going to be doing is building a large kind of power reactor, you could say. It's going to be kind of the main, well, one of the main structures in our base. And trying to find a spot that I like to actually construct this thing onto. You know, let's go ahead and just clear out a little chunk here. Pop. Pop. There we go. And then we'll use this as our nice little setup. Going to remove some of these plants. That's a problem. The plants don't automatically kind of remove themselves when you remove the block they're standing on. They kind of float, which creates some issues. So our cool power grid system and capacitors. Let's throw some grass to fill in this area, I think. Let's do 15 by 15 and build mode. Oh, see, there's that problem with shrubs and things. They're always kind of creating little issues. Pop, pop, and pop. So you guys can let me know in the comments down below if you guys want StarMade to be a speed build kind of series or real-time building. I'm happy to do either. Speed building Technically, you might be able to show more stuff. And holy crap, my cat just ran off for no reason. Okay, wow, that just ruined my train of thought completely. I don't know what his problem is. Anyway, so yeah, speed build, we might be able to get more progress done a lot quicker, but it can be jarring as it is a third-person game. Alright, so colors. I went to the shop, bought a few things from like force fields, different doors, some different lights, some different hull colors, some hazard armor. And what I want is, I think, a black and orange building for this. So black hull with orange kind of highlights on it. Alright, and the ground floor texture, I guess we can use some scaffolding to kind of give us some more of an industrial look. And then the floor itself, oh, you know, let's just do gray hull as just a standard here. So we're going to select our little wedge or solid cube here. It's going to be a 21 by 21 building, as it needs to be odd so that we can fit kind of a door, more of a central location. And we're just going to, well, obviously we don't have enough gray hull pieces. So we're going to have to use some standard armor pieces. Let's remove what we just placed down and use something that we have a little bit more abundant objects for. There we go. So that is the foundation for the building itself. We will then go through and add 2 on each side for the walls. And I don't know really what, hold on, what how this is going. Is this slabs? Why is it laying down slabs? Black hull. That's weird. Black hull slab. Ah, there we go. So hulls can actually be cut down into slabs now, which I think is an amazing feature for this game. And for the interest of keeping the building interesting, I'm gonna try and come up with an partially interesting shape here by cutting a corner out, maybe, just so it's not a perfect box. And it's also going to be a slope structure, which might look a little bit more sci-fi than something you might find in, say, Minecraft, where people just build box houses half the time. Let's do ship core. Move that out of the way. Go back to our black hull here. And using this, we will go ahead and mark out the door. So let's go into the advanced build mode. We will set a build plane here of about that, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's the symmetry line there. And now we'll kind of make a little catwalk by hopefully removing a few pieces and replacing them with some industrial elements. And now we will take off symmetry mode, as that's pretty much the only symmetry side that we have to offer. And we'll just walk that angle over and across. And then we have this section here. And you can always go in and say delete the stone underneath that, run like some lights or cables just to make it a little bit more interesting looking. And I might even do something more like this, so it just looks like a better path. It's bugging me that this is longer than this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Huh. You know what? That's fine. It's fine to have some asymmetry going on. That's not a big major deal at all. Now, power reactors. I'm not going to min-max this thing. That is not my goal. My goal is to simply build something functional that works at least halfway decent, and then go from there to possibly expand on that later on. So functionally aesthetic is what we're shooting for. So this is going to be a power reactor, kind of making these holding chambers with supports that actually looks like they might encase the power reactor itself. All right. And let's go ahead and get some hazard armor in there. And I know these are going to be relatively small reactors, but we can make more of these buildings. We can always expand on it later. But we just need to start coming up with some sort of cohesive design to start following in our builds in general. You know, I might not like that after all. Let's go ahead and maybe remove that. That's gonna make them a little too small for what we may need in the long run. So I'm gonna put the hazard armor more on the outside edge rather than inlaying it. Okay, so what I need to do is something like that. 4 seems to be the size I need. And these ones will be identical. This one might be longer, and then this might be some sort of office or miscellaneous little structure off to just the side, because having it as one just solid block is a little weird in my opinion as well. So this is gonna be what is this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 by 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 little power reactors. All right, now let's grab the reactors themselves. I believe I do have, yes I do, I have 367 power modules. And the best layout looks to be something like that for the corners. And we can just run this all the way up. And we need to turn on the lighten mode so you guys can see it's getting kind of dark. Okay. Just trying to find kind of the optimum layout here. Not the complete optimum, but definitely a nice little system. So besides that, what else you can put in here? I mean, you can always do power capacitors because, in my opinion, they still make great filler material. I don't need shield cells or shield regeneration on the home world just because it can't be destroyed anyways. So I don't have to worry about that. And without some type of other, I guess you could say, meta item to throw in here, I think going layer by layer and adding these cool little capacitors would be best. So we will, I think, do that. And then something like that. Trying our best here to just kind of fill the negative space without causing too many problems. And then we throw down another layer of power capacitors as we slowly rinse and repeat this little process. You can see our capacity constantly going up and our power generation constantly going up. We're at 13,000 already. Maybe it would be best to remove this section just so I can get a good reading as to how well this might perform. So let's go ahead and get rid of all these power modules that I expanded for the factory. See what our new little design does. It's not definitely perfect by any means, but it's good enough. I never really enjoyed playing StarMade for the absolute metagame, as really, you know, the differences to me are rather negligible. I'd rather just build another reactor than sit there and toil over the exact count and build like perfect 9x9 kind of attachments here. I'm gonna fill in some grass. That was bugging me. Okay, so right now we are at 7.4 K per second. Not bad. Not amazing, but, you know, it's good enough. There we go. And now I can fill these in with reactors. So this one going up to the top. That doesn't get any, that doesn't get any. This one does, this one does, that one does. That does as well. As we just slowly expand and start with 2 overall reactors like this. Alright, now we get something like that. Something there. Here. Even though really I could just do that. Just, you know, it's all about little trials and error that you can throw around. And let's just fill the whole thing in now. So 10K per second with a capacity of 103,000. So about 10 seconds, this thing gets fully charged and is at full capacity. So we're going to basically be doubling that and making that almost 20k per second with a 200k capacity. And hopefully that'll at least allow that turret to shoot consistently and let our factories run. Now what I want to do is also decorate this a little bit, just to make it look pretty nice. Let's go with red kind of force field elements. Now you can't see them very well, but I feel like with lighting mode off, yeah, that looks pretty cool. Kind of the slow glow coming from the reactor themselves, and then you can put little modules on there, like little decorative pieces, like a decorative panel. That might be, you know, giving out some readings that people might check as they walk through here. Possibly even grabbing some hazard armor, just so it's not a complete wall of red there, and you can kind of check it out. Let's grab one of these. And the way you kind of flip these around, the quick way, is if you hold Control and scroll your mouse wheel, you can actually spin the orientation very quickly. And it's a big help. So yeah, it's going to be a relatively short building, and then it's going to slope off on one side and get a little bit more narrow. You might have 1 or 2 blocks higher than it currently is. The best thing to do then would be to expand the corners, because these corners are technically where the largest section of our power generation comes from. Okay. And I'm definitely, you know, not doing the most efficient thing in the world here, but I think it's efficient enough to call it at least a partial success. So let's throw in more capacity. I did build a lot of these because I was expecting to make this a relatively large reactor, as this is going to have our main refinery attached to it, all the defensive mechanisms that we're going to need down the line. And luckily, I'm going to have this empty space here because I'm weird and I assume the walls are separate from the entities inside. But these are non-visible portions. So in theory, you could, you know, do elements like this. And just bring out kind of this slightly different grid pattern. And now we're at 16,000 per second. Because none of these are really touching on the side, it's a relatively efficient manner. It's not perfect by any means, but it gets the job done. Now we're at 18.6. And we can fill these in. Turn on lighten mode again so you guys can see on the YouTube's compressed version, which always makes these things a little darker. And you can give me tips for building. You know, I'm not completely against it, but just don't expect the complete meta build to be awesome. I'd rather get like design decisions, like looks of things, You know, I'd rather it look really sci-fi and kind of accurate and believable over it being a giant Borg cube kind of setup. And we can even run the hazard across, fill in the extra force field elements. Do the same on this side here. This side, I think something like that's fine. We don't need a control panel on this side, I don't think. And then see how that looks. I like the little light red glow you get from these things, and they're see-through, which is great as well. That's a slope piece. Have I been using the slope piece this whole time? Because that obviously doesn't look right. Let's actually use the square section. The slope piece, if you stack them on top of each other, can create little weird shadow artifacts. So that's not really good to do. Alright, that's pretty cool. You can add screens and stuff that give you readings and things, which is kind of a cool thing to maybe shoot for as well. That might increase the immersion. You can put little control panels. There's little decorative pieces now, which is really great. I love the amount of decorative blocks in StarMade. So if we go through my junk chest, I believe, yeah, so I have a decorative console. I might be able to make these, or you might be able to buy them. I don't know exactly, but I know we have one, and I can plop it down here right beneath this little monitor. If I can get it to orientate the right direction, like that, which just sells the overall experience, I think, a little bit better than anything else. And I can work with half blocks more. I haven't really played StarMade since they activated those half blocks, but that's essentially what I'm going to be doing here on camera. What I'm going to do off camera is build the next reactor section and some more detailing elements, as I feel like I just wanted to talk to you guys for about 30 minutes or so on the building itself. But I know you guys are itching to see the thing done, so let's just skip to that. Okay, so here we are. This is the base shell of our kind of power plant, you could say. I ran out of materials currently to continue building on some of the finer details, so I'm going to be taking and ending the episode here, but I did want to show where we're at, just so I can get you guys' feedback on stuff, and so you guys can contribute in terms of maybe some minor detailing around, just to spruce it up a bit and see what could and could not be missing. Ignore the fireworks going on in the background. We're obviously just being attacked by pirates right now. Our little turret over here just occasionally shooting off into the distance and trying its best to protect us, but it's not really in his favor right now. Anyways, so we have this main structure, and this structure houses 3 generators. We are currently at 635,000 total power and 40,000 per second, which is pretty good, especially for the size of the building. It's not all 100% generators, and really, I'm pretty okay with the design. We got some pretty interesting color combinations with the black and orange, and then I'm working on inlaying some of the orange and spreading that around the outer shell a little bit, and adding these little smokestack type of elements that look pretty cool attached to the side. These orange pillars are marking off where I'm going to have basically power storage modules in the forms of almost like tanker-like buildings and structures that will be just large battery banks. So it's going to be the opposite of this. So it's going to be mostly power storage, what's the name? Power capacitors, and a little bit of power generators. Just enough to like maybe run up and down a little bit, but it's not going to be quite as powerful as the main building itself. But hopefully that'll make this area look a little bit industrial. On the inside, we have these doors just to let you in, and once you're inside, you're greeted with force fields holding back the reactors, and they're all lit up. I'm going to try and get some more of these detail blocks just so we can throw them in here for effect. Some light screens. I could even put monitors up in the long run, so it's constantly displaying our current power, and as that shifts, it should, in theory, update that in real time. This one's missing a monitor, and I just added like a beam computer just for a little bit of detail. This little side room here, I don't know what to use it for. That's something I think you guys could assist with as well. I mean, what fits in a reactor type chamber? I mean, this could be like central control with plenty of these little monitors, and some of them upside down, and just monitoring the overall power output, making sure we don't go nuclear, because I'm assuming that's what we're using. This is just some more laser containment fields containing the reactors themselves, and then a back door out to this side. So this is the current look of our base. I'm happy to actually get started on building the main structure itself. Our power right now is more so than we need, so far it's working out really well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are enjoying StarMade, make sure to leave a like so I know how much you guys enjoy it, and it lets me know to keep making these episodes. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new. Check out my other creative content as we play Planet Coaster, as that is probably my favorite game currently. And go ahead and let me know down below what you guys think. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in some more StarMade.